Get on the train before it leaves the station. The truth train is coming, gonna run them down, run them down. Final destination, inevitable exoneration. Get on the train.
Hello there, folks. How you doing? Today we're here uploading the walkthrough of Eagle Nation, but this is the video off of my GoPro. Much clearer, much crisper video that you can really see things. It's less fuzzy than it was with my phone, because although the video looks great on my phone, when I had to transfer it to be able to put it into my editing software, it degraded the video quality and it just looks a little fuzzier. But I do want to say thank you very much to Wrecking Crew member Jamie, who was there with Mr. Capaldi and I this day filming, because she was also backing up this footage on my phone while Mr. Capaldi was, recording me as well. So we had two cameras going this time, because after what happened with the live, we were kind of disappointed. So this time we were kind of like making sure, so we were getting it twice. So the advantageous part of that is because Paul did some kind of havering with my GoPro. Who knows what he was doing? He did some kind of havering with it, and he caused the video to split up, and he caused the final like 10 minutes of it, or the final 12 minutes of it, somehow got broken into a second video, and with a completely different numbering system in the memory. And so I don't know what he did, but that's why you don't bring a music teacher to be your cameraman. But anyway, but thank you, Paul, for being able to be there to help out with this, though, just as well as Wrecking Crew member Jamie. Thank you so much for being there as well. So the advantageous part of this is that before I went and found where this other part of the video had been hidden in the GoPro, I actually went and grabbed the footage of where the video cut off that Jamie did from my phone, right? So instead of getting rid of that when I found the rest of the footage on the GoPro, I decided to put it in, leave it in, and let it play down in the bottom right corner. And it's basically from the minute 17 on, basically right around there, somewhere around minute 17 on, where you will then see two video feeds, and the little small one down in the corner is the one that we had from my iPhone. Having a little fun with this one, folks. So you get to see it from both angles when I'm standing there at Michael Funk's desk, and then when I'm describing what him and the hostages were doing when the police officers came in with their hasty team. So all that stuff, you get to see it from both angles essentially on this one. So interesting, quality. Let me know if you guys like it. Anyways, here we are today. I want to also remind everybody, tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Central, we are going to be live on Linda's Listening, her YouTube channel. I'll leave a link for it down below. And we are going to be live on her channel talking with Steve Arado, the owner of Eagle Nation Cycles, and Kay, who is also, Kay Reeds, who has also been corresponding with me quite a bit as I've been looking into the Michael Funk thing again and the Eagle Nation Cycles thing again. So her and I have been corresponding quite a bit, and now they were, because Linda was there with us on that Friday when I did the live and stuff, and she got to meet everybody. So they talked with her and they arranged to do a live, and I was like, oh sure, yeah, I'll be there with bells on. I want to help Linda. I want to help Eagle Nation get more attention to this whole thing that went down. So I think this helps both of those things, and so I'll be happy to be there, and I hope all you will be there as well to check it out. All right, so we'll be there with Steve Arado, owner of Eagle Nation Cycles, and Kay Reeds, who is very instrumental in helping to pass along information to Linda and I and those others who are interested in what happened here in Neenah. So, all right. So, here we go. You guys, this is the walkthrough at Eagle Nation Cycles on my GoPro, which is going to be a lot clearer and a lot crisper in terms of the visual, sharpness of everything. So, hope you guys enjoy it. And hello everybody. Okay, hey, we're here at Eagle Nation Cycles today, guys. I got to come back here today on Sunday. Be leaving Wisconsin tonight, but I had to come back here today because the live we did here the other day didn't completely upload. There was a lot of information that didn't really make it through. So Why don't you guys come step back a little bit, kind of catch the building a little bit so everybody can see the Eagle Nation cycle sign, that sort of stuff. So first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go in here inside here, and we're going to talk about the entry area here, and we're going to talk about the 2012 raid that kind of really set many of the events here in motion back in 2012. So this is Eagle Nation Cycles. Here is the door to go in, so we'll head on in here so you guys can see that. Okay, now this has changed a little bit. It looks a little different from the security video of the raid, the 2012 raid, which I do have. I will upload it for you guys to check out if you want to take a look at it. But I think this used to not be here, right? There was a pool table, or was it this?
No, that was here. This wasn't.
This wasn't here. Okay, so then there was a pool table. It was a pretty, nice little kickback hangout area with the pool table and stuff. And you'll see here where all the cops are in here around the pool table, and they're all sitting around after the raid, and you see the Eagle Nation guys are, I think they're in cuffs, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and they got them all cuffed in here and everything, and they didn't find anything. Okay, they came up in here with this raid squad expecting that they were going to find like a drug lab or something like that, or some crazy drug operation, right? I don't know, I'm not exactly sure why they thought they were going to find that. Can't say. I have some ideas and some theories about it, but we won't get into that today. But they were just, they found nothing, okay? Now, the interesting thing, folks, is that there is the security video from the shop, okay, that was recording all of it. Neenah Police Department took that footage, and they decided to cut out a 20-second clip in the middle of this video, this surveillance video. Okay, before the 20-second clip, you can see there's a little cabinet or something. There's nothing on this little cabinet. Suddenly, after the 20-second clip that's missing, there's something sitting there. And Hopper's coming up and going, "Oh, hey, Chief, I found something." And it happened to be like literally a piece of weed probably as big as the end of my pinky. A tiny, tiny, minuscule amount of marijuana. Wasn't enough for them to seize this shop and do, any of the things that they may have been hoping or planning to do. But it's just interesting that you have the missing 20 seconds and suddenly something that wasn't there is suddenly there, and Hopper's walking up going, "Oh, hey, Chief, check this out." So it's just a funny thing to consider and to keep in mind as we go through all the things that happened here at Eagle Nation. So we'll go ahead and move on back. So we're going to move back into the area where the bikes are, back where the hostage situation was happening here. Gets a little dark, folks, right here, but don't worry. Okay, so this is the little kitchen area. Basically here, they do a lot of little meals here. Steve cooks meals for local kids and people, and they come over here a lot. There's a lot of really positive energy in this place, and it's awesome. So this is the little kitchen area. I was just talking to Steve, and we found out that the drink that Flat-Off had in his hand, he just came up in the refrigerator here and helped himself to their orange juice, and that's what he was drinking during the video. So anyways, so we got some interesting things to point out. Obviously, we got the water heater here. This was hit by the cops, That's the bullet hole in the water heater there. And then up here, we got another one in the ducting here for the forced air unit. So you got another hole there. Got holes all along that back wall where Flat-Off was firing at the officers, and we'll get to that in just a second, where the cops actually cut out the squares of drywall and everything. So to get that. So we have, this is Michael Funk's desk that you're looking at there, folks, and I'll be coming back in here in a minute after we go out in the alley, and I'll be talking to you from right here. But that's Michael Funk's desk. That's where he, did his work here at Eagle Nation and that sort of stuff. Now, the next important thing, the next thing that I like to point out is, obviously this is about where Flat-Off's bike was. Now, this isn't Flat-Off's bike. This is about where it was in the video you guys saw, that I uploaded. I uploaded the video where we see the Hasty team coming in through the door, right? And we see them coming in through the door, and we see what happens, and then they bone out, right? And then I put the footage from the inside right after that, right? And so you guys could see that in here, there was this bike, and Rhino, who worked here, he goes by the name of Rhino. He was working on Flat Off's bike. He was putting the little, you know, saddlebags or boxes, whatever it is, you know, the little compartments that were on the back of the bike. He was putting those on. He's putting the bike back together for Flat Off and all that sort of stuff. The thing that I found was really interesting is at one point he needs to go into this room over here. There's something in there. One of the little bins he needed was in that room, and he was like afraid to walk into that room. I think it's the way it looks to me on the video, because he starts to walk this way and then he turns and he's like kind of got his hands like this and he's talking and this and that, and then it looks like, you know, Flat Off acquiesces or whatever, and then he goes in and gets the little thing and he puts it on the bike. Now, it's just interesting to me because that illustrates that Rhino is obviously clearly fearful of what's going to happen to him if he just walks into that room, you know, and Flat Off starts opening fire on him. So there was a definite atmosphere of fear going on in here. So, and the reason why that's important is because the cops, when they say that they came in here, they say everyone's a shooter. They say everyone's a shooter, and I'm gonna point out to you a few reasons why that doesn't really wash, why that doesn't really make sense to me. So, all right, now we're gonna move back here. We'll go ahead and catch the mural of Michael Funk, because I don't think that made it into the live either. Really, really great mural. That is a loving memory for Michael Funk. You know, it's just awesome. It's a brilliant piece of artwork. So I just wanted to show that off for everybody. That's, you know, in loving memory of Michael Funk. You know, he was really well loved, and he's very well missed. So it's a beautiful piece of artwork. So I just wanted to catch that. Now, obviously over here. Obviously over here is where, you know, the main stuff went down. So this is the door that the Hasty team came through. You guys, most of you have seen the video most likely. So they came in here, and this is where they came in, and two of the officers, this was open, right? And the two of the officers came and just didn't realize this. I'm not exactly sure what, or if maybe one of the officers was pushing from behind and one of them lost his footing, but two of them fell down this staircase essentially. So, and when they did, they dropped one of their guns over this railing, and the gun ended up laying right here, one of the cops' guns. And when they retreated, they left it there. So that's another interesting point. But, so they come in, they bundle it, two of them fall down the stairs, exchange of fire, somehow Hoffer gets hit in the head. We have theories. We don't know if, we honestly don't think that Flat Off could, we know Flat Off couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, okay? Especially because the dude was so drunk, right? So there's a possibility that one of the officers falling down here might have accidentally, with some friendly fire, been the one to Cliff Hoffer. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I'm saying that it's a plausible possibility. So that's another thing here. But they bungled this, and then they bone out, okay? So now the people that are in here that are scared, that are afraid of Flat Off, are now left with no hope. The team that was coming in to save them ran away by like a bunch of sissy little girls. You know what I mean? So they basically now don't know what's going on. So Michael Funk ended up being the one that Flat Off sends over to close this door, because the police, the Hasty team, had left it open when they came through. So Flat Off's telling Mike to come over here. Mike comes over here, but instead of just closing the door, he obviously goes out through it, okay? He goes out through it and closes it behind him like that, and he kind of just does one of these, right? And Flat Off's shooting at it the whole time. Michael runs out here, he rolls, follow me, kind of rolls to the side, and there's the truck. There's a truck parked right here, okay? You guys will remember from the video. Hopefully, you know, I've uploaded all these videos I have uploaded, so you guys have the chance to see them already. So he gets around this truck, tailgate is back here, right? And he's on the truck tailgate, and it's like this, and he's looking at that door. That's what he's looking at. He's looking at that door because why? Because that's where the danger is for him. The danger is the guy inside shooting at him. So he is completely focused on that door. Then he's obviously reaching for his weapon, pulling out his weapon, okay? So there's two things about this. Number one, he's focused on the door and the danger that's inside the building. Number two, he's just pulling his gun out in the alley, okay? That's not something that, if he was the hostage taker, his gun would already be out. You know what I mean? That's just logic, right? Logic. If he was the hostage taker, his gun would have already been out. So the fact that he's pulling it out here behind the truck, staring at this door where he just got fired upon, it doesn't wash when Hoffer says he thinks that he was a shooter, or that he, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Plus, he'd had contact with Michael Funk previous, about 2 months previous to shooting him. So it's hard for me to believe Hoffer didn't recognize, Michael Funk. So what happens is, so Michael Funk's here, he's watching the door, he's got his gun out, he's got it pointed at the ground. He's actually handling it the way he was trained for concealed carry. He's actually handling it properly. He's got it pointed at the ground, and he's watching that door. And as soon as he feels that he's safe, maybe, to be able to get away, he does this, and he runs, he starts to turn, and he's heading for this gap. But he's looking back at the door because he's afraid Flathof's gonna come through it almost any second, right? He's just trying to get to this gap. And the reason why he's trying to get to this gap, because if he gets over this fence, he gets to his house, and then he's home, he's safe. He can't, Flathof's, gonna have a hard time trying to get him at his house, right? So that's why he was heading for this gap, and he's gonna hop over that fence. But the thing is as he was running this way, so he's running this way, and he's looking at the door, and he's headed for here, and this is where he gets hit. Hoffer pops out from around that corner over there, right? And hits Michael Funk. This is where Michael Funk falls. This is where his body lied after Hoffer and Ross shot him, because he was headed for here. So the big problem I have with this particular situation is number one, Hoffer was ordered twice to stand down. He shouldn't even have freaking been there. Number two, his assessment of the situation doesn't match anybody else's real assessment of the situation. So to illustrate that point, Michael Funk, he comes out here, and he's obviously looking at that door. He's obviously, like all the things I've been saying right now, he's worried about the shooter inside. And we got Hoffer, who's saying that he thought he was a danger. Now, when DCI, the investigators for DCI, took a look at this tape and everything, they saw exactly what I saw. They saw a man who was fearful of the jackass inside with a gun, okay? They saw Michael Funk was looking at that door. They saw Michael Funk was worried about that door. They saw that he looked like a man who was worried about the guy inside with the gun. And even the DCI agents, upon looking at it, assessed it that way. So this is why I say Hoffer was compromised. This is why I say that Hoffer was compromised, because I truly believe he wanted to exact his pound of flesh after he'd been hit in the helmet. I truly do believe that, because he was mad, he was angry, his pride was hurt, whatever it was. He was not in his right mind. It's why he was ordered to stand down, and he should have, and he didn't. So to me, that means he's got a problem. And I think Wisconsin has a problem, because this guy, if he hadn't been involved, if he'd have stood down when he was told, this probably wouldn't have happened this way, because the other officers seemed to believe that Michael was reacting to, what was going on in the shop as well. And they also saw that Michael never ever saw Hoffer. They all kind of see that in the video. It's only Hoffer that has like this different, idea of what was going on. So that's another problem. And plus, he just happens to be the one that got hit in the helmet. So there's always that problem. So this is actually, you guys, if you want to, let's come over here for just a second. If you guys remember the video where Hoffer's laughing and about to ready to dance a jig after shooting Michael Funk because he's so proud of himself, this is where that all went down. This is where they were, the police and everything, when that body cam video, this is where they're at, this is where they're talking. And this is where Hoffer's like, oh yeah, shot that guy, like all proud of himself, right? This is that spot. Now, all this stuff, this is all new buildings, folks. All these buildings are new. This used to be an industrial section, and it looked very much like what these buildings here, where Eagle Nation is, look like. But the city of Neenah was buying up these properties and building these, newer buildings and all that sort of stuff. So it stands to reason that they wanted to most likely get their hands on these buildings so that they could dress them up and finish their little plan for, downtown Neenah, right? Well, that's one thing. Maybe they should have tried a different plan, but the way they chose to go about it here is not really good. But that 2012 raid with the 20 seconds missing, and then suddenly some marijuana appears mysteriously after the missing 20 seconds is just odd as shit. So those are some of the problems that we have with this case. So that's Steve, by the way, everybody. Say hi to Steve. He's the owner of Eagle Nation Cycles, Michael Funk's friend. So we're gonna head in and go take a look at Michael Funk's desk now, and I'm gonna talk to you guys a bit from there. All right, so to show you guys some of the more of the things that got hit in here. This was on one of the bikes. You guys can see that it took a hit. And also, we have this guy here. You can see where it took a hit there because that dent is not supposed to be there, right there. So, so lots of things got hit, and then obviously we got the fire extinguisher. This is the fire extinguisher, folks. If you remember, when the cops came in on their hasty team raid, they hit this fire extinguisher. Now, they've put the little bullet hole sticker on there, and I think that's kind of amusing because this is the fire extinguisher that exploded and created that big white cloud in here that you see in the surveillance video while this hostage situation was going on. All right, so this is Michael Funk's desk right here. Basically, this is where he would work, and if you remember, he's in that video, right? Back up just a little. He's in that video and he's here and he's Flat Off's kind of pacing around, if you guys remember in the video and everything. And then eventually by the time that the cops are coming in that door, Flat Off is standing just about a couple feet away from where I am right now. And when those cops start coming in and Michael Funk looks over and sees what's going on. Now remember, the cops said that everybody's a shooter, right? That was Hoffer's claim, and even some of the other cops that came in and bungled the raid, we're all claiming everybody's a shooter. They're all shooters. They're all bad guys. So we don't need to worry about them, right? That's the way that translates, folks. That's what they're trying to do. That's the narrative they're trying to create with that, right? Okay. It gets all blown out of the water when you look at the surveillance tapes, because what does Michael Funk do when they come in that back door? I'm going to show you right now. Why don't you back up so you can catch it? He gets up like this. He goes just like this. Who is he shooting at? Who's he gonna shoot at? How is he in a position to be a shooter? It's impossible. And how many shooters lay down on their belly with their hands out in front of them? Right? And that's what he was doing. So, and the other hostages were doing the same. I was talking, when I was here on Friday, the hostage, what was his name?
Mike Peterson.
Mike Peterson. He said he was over here, and when they came in that door, because he was off camera, the camera's actually right here, so that's why you couldn't see this guy, but he was also diving. There was like a bike back here. I think he said that this thing right here was actually right here. And so what he said he did is he dove down like right here, and he was getting behind that bike and getting down here. Okay, if people are diving down and hitting their belly, how is that? How are they an active shooter? How are they a threat, right? So it's the continuous misassessment of what was happening here that I can obviously see in the video that it's not true. It's not happening. What they're saying is just bogus, right? So that's my first kind of beef with the situation. So there's the issue of Hoffer and the way that they're interpreting the way things were in here, and it's just bizarre. So, because, and I hope most of you have seen it. If you haven't, go back and look. I've been doing a lot of Michael Funk and Eagle Nation videos lately. There's a lot of footage. You can see the inside footage over here of what happened inside. You can see the footage of what was happening outside. I've gotten pretty much most of it. So this is where Michael Funk worked. It's obvious in these videos that there's only one shooter, and the claims of the police officers, for the most part, are just strange. And like I said, I'm gonna upload the 2012 raid so you guys can see where the missing 20 seconds is, and so you guys can just see how that all went down and how dishonest it was, or disingenuous, right? So it's a very sad thing, folks. Michael Funk was very well loved by the people around him, and getting shot down in that way is very tragic, and it could have been avoided. It really could have been avoided. I think Wisconsin needs to create a statute. They need to create a statute for this type of situation, in my opinion. That when it down in Austin, Texas, when this type of situation happens with an officer where they get hit in the helmet or whatever, or hit, a glancing blow off of a vest or whatever, but just getting hit. In Austin, Texas, they are immediately supposed to stand down, and they're ordered to stand down. And if they do what Hoffer did, they lose their job. That's it. No $200. Do not pass go. You're done. Get out. We don't even want to listen to what you have to say, or to try for you to explain yourself. I think maybe Wisconsin needs to do a similar thing, because for me, I worry about more innocent bystanders in hostage situations here in Wisconsin that this could happen to because of an officer who was part of a very hastily put together team that went wrong and went badly. And because that officer got hit, he had a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to exact his pound of flesh. It's really what it looks like. Because, as I said, his assessments of the situation do not match other people's assessment of the situation. That's the most disturbing thing about Hoffer. And so I think that the people of Wisconsin might consider, I'm not saying to turn against your law enforcement. I'm not saying to do anything like that. What I'm saying is to put into place statutes or hopefully legislation that can help protect other hostages in the future here in Wisconsin to help prevent what happened to Michael Funk. I mean, obviously there's not a lot of legal recourse for everybody here at Eagle Nation Cycles and what happened. Maybe, hopefully, something will come up one day, some kind of smoking gun kind of proof where they can really, really nail Nina and show that Nina was, and maybe I'll be able to help with that. I'm going to be looking into talking to some people. I've got a way to try and contact Flatoff to maybe get his opinion of some things. Ooh, that's the door. Uh-oh. So I'm going to hopefully be talking to, maybe write some letters to Flatoff and see if I get something back from him, see if he has anything interesting to say. I'm going to be talking to a lot of people that Steve has put me onto. He's given me numbers and contact information, and some are just names, and I'm going to have to look up and dig them up and figure out how to contact them. But if I can get a hold of some of these people, I might be able to find out some information that might be interesting. So maybe, possibly, the Wrecking Crew and I might turn up something helpful. But it'd be nice if we could bring some closure for everybody here at Eagle Nation Cycles, some kind of satisfaction for what happened. But ultimately, if we can't even get that, what I really want is for the state of Wisconsin, the people of Wisconsin, to work on getting the legislation, work on putting in place the statutes or something that will help prevent this type of miserable situation from happening again. Because it is absolutely a miserable situation, and it really shouldn't have happened. Steve was telling me today that the guy who Flatoff had sold the bike to that was here, that he was coming back to claim. Let me give you guys a little bit of that story, by the way. So the reason why Flatoff came here that day, okay, was because he was in jail previous, sometime previous to coming here, and he wanted to make bail. So he sold his bike, sold his motorcycle to a guy named Vance Dalton, and Vance Dalton bought it, but then he was like, this bike is in really rough shape. This bike is really kind of, haggard, right? So he brought it here to Eagle Nation so that they could work on it, dress it up, fix it, replace, some of the things that were whatever, the issues that it had and everything. And that's why it was here. But the reason why Flatoff was here was because he suddenly decided, now that he was out of jail and made bail, that it was his bike still. I mean, he wasn't giving the money back to Vance Dalton, but he was just deciding it was his bike still. And so he was going to come down and get it. He was going to bring a gun to enforce his will. I don't know what this guy was thinking, honestly. I mean, seriously. I mean, even if he would have got out of here, he would have gotten arrested at some point because it was no longer his bike. You know what I mean? It was just, I don't know what his scenario for success was. But then again, I think Flatoff was kind of off his rocker, seriously, just a serious drunk. I think the guy had he might have even had mold. He may have had chemical addiction problems. I wouldn't surprise me one bit if he did. He may even have a touch of mental illness. I think that's entirely possible with Flatoff because his decision-making day was horrible. But when it comes to somebody like that, I expect their decision-making to be horrible. I expect the sober, well-trained cops to be better. I truly do. I expect them to be better. And so that's why Flatoff was here, he was basically trying to take back his bike, which he had sold, strong arm with strong arm tactics, and that's why he was here. And so that's what they were doing. That Rhino was putting his bike back together for him. They were trying to get him out of here as best they could, and that's why he was here. And ultimately, it's like I said, it's just ultimately I want the people of Wisconsin to really start to think about that, because look, you don't want to find yourself in a hostage situation someday, and you're fortunate enough to get your ass out of the frying pan, and only to end up in the fire. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened here. Michael Funk is running away from this, terrible, fearful situation that's in here, only to end up out back, obviously still fearing for his life. As I said, even the DCI agents that looked at that tape afterward saw what I saw. They saw somebody who was reacting to what was happening inside of Eagle Nation Cycles, and that they didn't feel he even knew what was happening down at the corner of that building where Hopper was. So DCI is law enforcement, folks. DCI, Division of Criminal Investigation, is what DCI stands for. And so they came in here, and their assessment of what happened it matches exactly with what I saw happening out there. So I think the people of Wisconsin need to really think about creating some kind of statute, something like what they have in Austin, Texas, where if the cop is hit and does not stand down immediately, then he's going to sacrifice his livelihood. He's going to sacrifice his career to do it. Okay? That might just be able to pull these guys out of that adrenaline rush, and whatever it is, that whole, emotional frenzy that Hopper was probably in, because obviously, if somebody had hit me in the helmet with a bullet and I lived, I could imagine myself being pretty fucking pissed off. I could imagine myself being very angry, and I could imagine myself being in a position to make bad decisions. So it only seems prudent to remove those people from the situation once they've been hit. And I think that Wisconsin needs to consider getting something similar to like what they have in Austin, Texas, to help protect future hostage situations from having from encountering the tragedy that we encounter here. We'll obviously be talking more about this. I got lots of stuff to look into about Eagle Nation, but I wanted to go ahead and go through and talk about all this stuff again today because I felt it was important. And like I said, we went live the other day for 25 minutes and only 5 minutes of it uploaded. So that was just really a downer. So this way I'm getting it all on footage for you guys. Will be, this will be uploaded as soon as I get back to California, and I'll upload it where we get the whole thing this time. So you guys can see the whole entire tour of the shop and that sort of stuff that you missed in the live. So, all right, that's going to be about it for this one, folks, if you haven't already.
All right. Hello there, folks. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough of Eagle Nation Cycles, this time with the very clear picture from my GoPro. I hope you guys enjoyed the little split screen kind of experience there at the end of it. I'm very grateful to, this is Wrecking Crew member Jamie here. She's the one that was there with my phone backing this up. We don't have Paul here, unfortunately, but we do have Linda. Linda was there with us. This is on Friday, by the way, when I first got to Wisconsin. So we got Linda, who will be on her channel tomorrow, talking with Kay right here. And Steve Arado, who you guys saw in the video, he was wearing the black and yellow sweater with the horizontal lines, basically. He's the owner of Eagle Nation Cycles. So Linda here and I will be on with Kay and Steve Arado tomorrow morning on her channel. Like I said, about 10 a.m. Central Time. And so hopefully you guys will join in. And once again, big thank you to Wrecking Crew member Jamie for being there to help out. I think it made this video a little bit more fun having that little split feed at the end anyway. So I hope you all enjoyed this. This is a tragic situation, to be sure, and if nothing else, I really want to try to make sure that a preventable situation like this can get prevented in the future, personally. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys tomorrow over on Linda's channel. Bye-bye.
Thank you.